Somewhere below you right now, deeper than sunlight has ever reached, in the black water off the coast of Antarctica, there is an eye watching the dark. It is the size of a soccer ball. Its pupil alone is as wide as your hand, and it belongs to an animal that almost no human being has ever seen alive. This is the largest eye that has ever existed. Not the largest eye alive today, the largest eye in the entire history of life on Earth. Bigger than the eye of any dinosaur that ever walked. Bigger than the eye of the blue whale, the most massive creature the planet has ever produced. Nothing, in 4 billion years, has ever grown an eye like this. And here is the part that should stop you. An eye that enormous should be able to see almost anything. You'd assume a creature builds an eye like that to hunt, to spot prey across vast distances, to dominate the darkness. But that's not why this eye exists. This eye was not built to find food. This eye was built out of fear. The creature that carries it spends its entire life staring into the blackness, waiting, watching for one specific thing, a shape in the dark that means death is coming. And that single, terrifying purpose is the reason this animal grew the biggest eye that nature has ever made. The animal is the colossal squid, and to understand its eye, you have to understand just how strange, how hidden, and how haunted this creature really is. Let's start with a fact that tells you almost everything about how little we know. As of just a couple of years ago, we had never once captured clear footage of a fully grown, healthy colossal squid alive in its natural home. Think about that. We have mapped the surface of Mars. We have photographed the shadow of a black hole. And yet this animal, a giant, 1,000-pound predator, living on our own planet, has spent almost all of human history completely unknown, slipping through the dark 2,000 feet down while we knew almost nothing about it. In fact, for a long time, we didn't even know it existed. The colossal squid was only discovered in 1925, and not by finding the animal itself. It was discovered inside something else. Scientists cut open the stomach of a sperm whale and found 2 enormous squid arms that didn't match anything they knew. That's how this creature announced itself to science. Not swimming, not photographed, but as leftovers in the belly of a whale. And that grim little detail, a squid found inside its predator, is a clue we're going to come back to, because it's the key to the whole mystery. For decades, nearly everything we learned about the colossal squid came the same way. Pieces of it pulled from the stomachs of sperm whales, an arm here, a beak there. We were reconstructing a monster from the scraps left behind by the thing that ate it. So let's build it. What is this animal, really? The colossal squid is not the same as the giant squid, and people mix them up constantly, so let's be clear. The giant squid is longer, with those famous trailing tentacles, but the colossal squid is heavier, bulkier, meaner. It is the heaviest invertebrate on Earth, the largest animal without a backbone that exists. A big one can weigh well over 1,000 pounds, as much as a small car, with a thick, muscular body built for the crushing cold and pressure of the deep southern ocean. And it is armed in a way that sounds almost invented. The giant squid grips its prey with suckers. The colossal squid does that too, but on the ends of its 2 long tentacles, it has something worse. Hooks. Sharp, rotating, swiveling hooks set into the clubs of its arms that dig into flesh and hold on. Some of them turn like the barbs of a fishing lure. This is an animal that doesn't just grab its prey, it impales it and doesn't let go. At the center of all those arms sits a beak, hard, sharp, and shaped like a parrot's, strong enough to slice through flesh, the one part of the animal tough enough to survive intact in a whale's stomach. And its body is kept afloat by a strange chemical trick. Its tissues are flooded with ammonium, a substance lighter than seawater, which lets this enormous creature hang almost weightless in the water without spending energy to swim. It doesn't chase. It hovers. It waits. A silent, ammonia-soaked giant drifting in the eternal dark, holding those hooked arms ready. Now, put yourself down there with it, 2,000, 3,000 feet below the waves. There is no light, none. The sun does not reach this place. It never has, and it never will. It is colder than a freezer, and the pressure would crush a human body flat. This is one of the most hostile environments on the entire planet, and the colossal squid calls it home. And it's here, in this black and crushing world, that we finally come to the eye. When scientists in New Zealand got their hands on a rare, nearly intact colossal squid, they thawed it out and began to dissect it, and the moment they reached the head, they were stunned, because the eye they uncovered was around 27 centimeters across, nearly 11 inches, roughly the size of a dinner plate or a soccer ball. In the middle of it sat a pupil as wide as 9 centimeters, about the width of your palm. To understand how absurd that is, you have to compare it to everything else in nature. The largest eye of any fish in the ocean belongs to the swordfish, and it's about 9 centimeters across. That's the runner-up. That's the second biggest eye in the sea, and it is so small next to the colossal squid that it would fit entirely inside the squid's pupil. The whole swordfish eye dropped into the black hole at the center of the squids. And it goes further. The blue whale, the single largest animal that has ever lived, a creature the length of 3 buses, has eyes only about 11 centimeters across. So this squid, a fraction of the whale's size, has eyes more than twice as large. The scientist who studied them put it plainly. These are, in all likelihood, the largest eyes that have ever existed anywhere at any point in the history of life. Which brings us to the real question, the one this entire video is built around. Why? Why would an animal grow an eye that big? Eyes are expensive. In the brutal economy of evolution, nothing gets built for free. Every ounce of tissue, every drop of energy has to earn its place, or it disappears over the generations. A soccer ball-sized eye is enormously costly to grow, to feed, to carry, so there has to be a reason. There has to be something this animal needs to see so badly that it was worth building the biggest eye in history to see it. And here's where our story takes its turn, because the obvious answer, the one you'd guess, is wrong. You'd think bigger eye, better hunter. It grew huge eyes to spot prey in the dark. It makes sense. But when scientists ran the actual physics of vision in deep water, they found something surprising. Down in the darkness, for the ordinary business of a squid's life, spotting a fish to eat, finding a mate, seeing what's right in front of you, an eye that big is a waste. It doesn't help. Past a certain point, making an eye larger gives you almost nothing in return for how much it costs. For everyday seeing, a 9 centimeter eye, swordfish sized, is already about as good as it needs to be. Tripling it to the size of a soccer ball buys you shockingly little. Except for one single task. There's exactly one thing that a giant eye does dramatically better than a normal one deep in the dark ocean. And it is not finding small things. It is detecting something very large and very faintly glowing from very far away. And what, in the deep southern ocean, is very large and faintly glowing and coming for the colossal squid, a sperm whale. Here is the beautiful, chilling logic of it. Remember how the colossal squid was first discovered as pieces in a whale's stomach? That was never a coincidence. The sperm whale is the colossal squid's great enemy. It is one of the only predators on Earth big enough and bold enough to dive into that crushing deep, thousands of feet down, hunting in the black, and its favorite meal is exactly this. Sperm whales carry the scars of these battles on their bodies, rings and rakes on their skin from squid hooks and suckers, souvenirs of fights that happened in a place no human eye will ever witness. So imagine the problem the colossal squid faces. It lives in a world of total darkness, hunted by a predator that hunts using sound. The sperm whale doesn't need to see the squid. It fires out clicks of sonar, the most powerful sonar in the animal kingdom, and it listens for the echo bouncing off the squid's body. It can find its prey in absolute blackness. The squid, meanwhile, has no sonar. In the dark, it is nearly blind to an approaching whale. Nearly, but not quite. Because the deep ocean has a secret, and the colossal squid learned to read it. The water down there is full of tiny living things. Plankton, microscopic organisms, drifting in countless numbers, and many of them do something remarkable when they're disturbed. They light up. They flash. It's called bioluminescence, a faint blue-green glow, the living light of the deep. On its own, one tiny organism produces a spark you could barely see. But now picture a 60,000-pound sperm whale diving at speed through that cloud of plankton. As its massive body plows through the water, it slams into millions upon millions of those tiny organisms, and they all light up at once. The whale doesn't glow on its own, but it drags a halo of triggered light behind it, a vast, ghostly aura of disturbed plankton, an enormous faint shimmer moving through the black, and that huge, dim, glowing shape sweeping through the darkness is exactly, precisely, the one thing a soccer ball-sized eye is built to detect. This is what the giant eye is for, not for hunting, for seeing death coming. The colossal squid's monstrous eye is an alarm system, an early warning radar tuned to one signal and one signal only, the glow of an approaching whale. Scientists calculated that with an eye that large, the squid could catch that faint moving light from as far as 120 meters away, more than the length of a football field through pitch black water. Think about what that distance buys. A sphere 120 meters across in every direction that the squid is constantly watching. Millions of cubic meters of black ocean monitored at all times by an eye evolved for exactly this. And the moment that ghostly glow appears at the edge of it, the squid gets something priceless. Warning. A few seconds. Time to react, to change direction, to ready those powerful muscles and hooked arms, to do something, anything other than be caught unaware in a whale's jaws. The scientists were careful about what they claimed. They weren't saying the squid can outrun a sperm whale. It almost certainly can't. The whale, with its sonar, will usually detect the squid before the squid ever sees the whale. So the giant eye isn't about escaping unseen. It's about not being ambushed. It's the difference between being taken by surprise and having one last chance to fight or flee. In a world where the alternative is being swallowed whole in the dark, a few seconds of warning is the difference between life and death. And over millions of years, that difference was enough to drive the eye bigger and bigger and bigger until it became the largest eye the world has ever known. The eye grew out of terror. It is fear made into flesh. Every generation of colossal squid that could see the whale coming a heartbeat sooner was a little more likely to survive and pass that on. And so the eye swelled, century after century, pushed forward by nothing but the shadow of the sperm whale. Now, I want to be honest with you, because good science is never quite as clean as a story wants it to be. This idea that the sperm whale is the reason for the giant eye is a hypothesis. It's a compelling one, built on careful math and real measurements, and it's the leading explanation we have. But not every scientist agrees. A year after the original study, another team pushed back. They argued that when you properly account for the squid's enormous body size, its eyes aren't quite as freakishly out of proportion as they first appear, that a giant animal will tend to have giant eyes anyway, and they questioned whether spotting whales is really so much better a use for a big eye than any other deep-sea task. The debate isn't fully settled, and it may not be for a long time, because the only way to truly confirm it would be to watch a colossal squid actually detect and evade a hunting sperm whale thousands of feet down in the dark. And we have never seen that happen. We may not see it for years, but whichever way the science lands, the core fact remains untouched and undeniable. This animal grew the largest eye in the history of life, and it did so in a lightless world ruled by one great predator. The eye and the whale are bound together in that black water, whether as cause or as coincidence, the watcher and the thing it watches for. And maybe that's the most haunting image this whole story leaves us with. Somewhere below the Antarctic waves, right now, in water so dark and so deep that no human will ever float there, a 1,000-pound creature is hanging motionless in the cold, its hooked arms drawn in, its ammonia-soaked body weightless, its enormous eye wide open. It is not looking for you. It is not looking for food. It is doing what its kind has done for millions of years. It is watching the darkness and waiting for a glow, the first faint light of the monster that hunts it, hoping to see the shimmer just once more before the shimmer sees it, the largest eye that ever existed. And it exists for one reason: to be afraid. If you want to meet the monster on the other side of this story, the sperm whale, the only creature that dives into this crushing dark to hunt, and the strange things scientists have found inside it, that's where we're going next.